Listen to me carefully. If you want real success, the kind that transforms your life, there's no shortcut, no magic pill, no luck. You're going to have to make sacrifices, brutal sacrifices that most people won't even consider. You will have to give up comfort, pleasure, and certainty. You will outgrow people you love. You will face fear, rejection, and relentless challenges. But here's the truth. The moment you embrace these sacrifices, the moment you step into the discomfort, is the moment your life begins to change forever. Are you ready to pay the price? Most people go through life chasing comfort. They wake up, follow the same routines, go to the same jobs, talk to the same people, and think they're moving forward. But in reality, they're trapped in a cycle that feels safe and familiar. Comfort is seductive. It whispers, you're fine. Don't rock the boat. Don't push too hard. Just stay where you are. And most of us listen. We listen because it's easy. We listen because it's painless. We listen because it doesn't ask us to face the truth, that growth is uncomfortable, that progress hurts, that real transformation comes with a cost. But let me tell you something. You cannot build a life of real success without stepping out of comfort. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. The moment you decide that comfort is more important than growth, you've already chosen stagnation. And stagnation is a silent killer of dreams, ambition, and potential. It doesn't feel dramatic. It doesn't hurt in a single moment, but over time, it erodes your life. It keeps you in the same town, the same mindset, the same bank account, and the same relationships. And you'll look back one day and realize you didn't fail because you weren't capable. You failed because you were too comfortable to push yourself when it mattered most. Think about every single person who has ever achieved something extraordinary. Every innovator, every athlete, every entrepreneur, every person who changed the world, they all share one common truth. At some point, they all chose growth over comfort. They made decisions that felt scary, decisions that went against their instincts, decisions that cost them time, energy, and certainty. They embraced the unknown, they leaned into challenges, and they allowed themselves to feel the tension that comes with real change. And here's the kicker. They didn't just tolerate discomfort, they sought it because they understood something that most people never do. Comfort is the enemy of progress. Now, I want you to ask yourself a question. What is your version of comfort? Is it hitting snooze one more time? Is it scrolling through social media instead of reading a book that could change your mindset? Is it settling for a job that barely challenges you? A relationship that drains you? A life that's safe but uninspired? Whatever it is, that comfort is a choice. And every time you choose comfort over growth, you are choosing mediocrity. Let me break it down even further. Growth is not linear. Growth is not comfortable. Growth is messy. It's stretching yourself beyond what you thought was possible, stepping into situations where you have no guarantees and risking failure. And failure feels awful. It feels like the world is against you, like everyone is laughing at your attempts, like you've overestimated your own ability. That's the moment where comfort whispers louder than ever, go back, retreat, stay where you are, play it safe. If you listen, that whisper will shape your life, not the roar of ambition that's inside you. But here's the reality. Success doesn't come to the safe. Success comes to those who are willing to stand in the fire, to face the discomfort, to take risks, even when their heart is racing and their mind is screaming, what if this doesn't work? You have to learn to love discomfort. You have to seek it out. You have to chase it like a lion chases its prey, because comfort will never challenge you. It will never inspire you, and it will never elevate you to the life you're capable of living. I want you to think about the moments in your life when you've grown the most. Chances are those moments were uncomfortable. They were moments when you had to stretch beyond your limits, when you had to face your fears, when you had to confront the parts of yourself that were holding you back. Maybe it was learning a new skill that felt impossible at first. Maybe it was having a difficult conversation that you wanted to avoid. Maybe it was stepping into a leadership role that terrified you. Every single time, growth demanded discomfort and discomfort demanded courage. And here's the thing. Discomfort is not a signal to stop. It's a signal that you're on the right track. It's a signal that you're pushing boundaries, expanding your capacity, and creating the life you were meant to create. Most people see discomfort and run, but the truth is discomfort is the fuel of transformation. Every ounce of struggle, every moment of fear, every time you feel out of your depth, it's all building you into someone stronger, smarter, and more resilient than you were yesterday. Now, let me be real with you. Choosing growth over comfort is not a one-time decision. It's a daily battle. Every morning you wake up and you choose, will I stay in my comfort zone or will I push a little harder, go a little further, and demand more from myself than yesterday? Growth doesn't happen in a single leap. It happens in small, consistent steps. It happens in the repeated decision to be uncomfortable, to embrace challenges, to do what others won't. Every time you make that choice, you're building momentum. Every time you resist the lure of comfort, You're sending a message to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. And here's the beautiful part. Once you start choosing growth over comfort, something incredible happens. The world starts to bend toward you. Opportunities appear. Confidence grows. Fear loses its grip. You begin to realize that the life you thought was impossible is within reach simply because you chose discomfort over ease, action over inaction, progress over stagnation. It's not magic. It's the natural result of refusing to settle, refusing to coast, and refusing to let comfort dictate the terms of your life. So I want you to take a moment right now and make a promise to yourself. Promise that you will no longer be a prisoner of comfort. Promise that you will embrace challenges, seek out growth, and allow yourself to feel the tension that comes with real progress. Promise that when life gets hard, and it will, you will not retreat to what feels safe. You will lean in, you will stretch, you will grow, because on the other side of discomfort is everything you've ever wanted. Comfort is seductive, but growth is transformative. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it robs you of your future. Growth feels uncomfortable now, but it rewards you for a lifetime. The choice is yours every single day. Choose wisely. Most people are addicted to instant gratification. They want to feel good now. They want rewards now. They want success without the struggle, and they want results without the effort. Every day, millions of people make choices based on what feels good in the moment, and they tell themselves it's harmless. They scroll their phones for hours, binge watch shows that numb their minds, eat foods that taste amazing but slowly kill their energy, and settle into routines that are comfortable but meaningless. And they wonder why their lives aren't changing. They wonder why they're stuck. The truth is simple. Short-term pleasure is a trap. It gives you a momentary hit of happiness, but it steals your future. Every second you choose temporary satisfaction over long-term growth, you're paying a price that compounds over years, decades, and ultimately a lifetime. If you want real success, you must learn to sacrifice short-term pleasure. You must make choices today that feel hard, uncomfortable, or even boring because you are building something that lasts. The path to greatness is paved with delayed gratification. It's about saying no to what feels good now so you can say yes to what will make you unstoppable later. And let me tell you, this is where most people fail, not because they can't succeed, not because they don't have talent, but because they can resist the little pleasures that pull them off course. Think about your habits. How often do you choose comfort, indulgence, or distraction over what actually matters? Maybe it's hitting snooze on your alarm instead of getting up to exercise. Maybe it's eating a sugary snack instead of fueling your body for energy and focus. Maybe it's scrolling social media for hours instead of learning, practicing, or creating something that will change your life. These little choices seem harmless, but they add up. They define your trajectory. They shape the person you are becoming, whether you like it or not. And here's the tough truth. If you keep choosing pleasure over purpose, you will never experience the full power of your potential. Let me be clear. I'm not talking about deprivation. I'm talking about conscious choice. I'm talking about understanding the difference between what feels good now and what builds the life you truly want. Pleasure isn't evil, but mindless pleasure is a killer. It's addictive. It's easy. And it's a lie that keeps you small. When you learn to delay gratification, when you learn to prioritize your future over fleeting moments, you unlock a power that most people never even experience. You become unstoppable. Now, I want you to think about the sacrifices that come with this. It's not easy to give up what feels good today. Your brain will fight you. Your emotions will fight you. The world will even fight you, telling you to relax, to take it easy, to settle. But here's the secret. Every time you resist, every time you choose the hard path, every time you sacrifice short-term pleasure, you're building discipline. You're training yourself to take control of your mind, your body, and your actions. And discipline is the foundation of everything that matters in life: success, freedom, health, and influence. Look at anyone who has achieved extraordinary results. They didn't get there by chasing comfort. They didn't get there by indulging in every whim, craving every momentary pleasure, or taking the easy path. They got there because they made choices that were hard in the moment but necessary for their future. They studied when others were sleeping. They worked when others were distracted. They invested time, energy, and focus into what mattered most, not what felt good. And that's the difference between mediocrity and mastery. Here's an example you can't ignore: your financial life. Most people spend money on things that give them immediate happiness: new gadgets, clothes, trips, meals out, and then wonder why they never build wealth. The sacrifices aren't glamorous, but they're powerful. Delaying that purchase, investing in your future, learning to live below your means, and focusing on building assets instead of consuming liabilities. It's uncomfortable to deny yourself the pleasures that everyone else enjoys, but it's the exact discomfort that builds financial freedom. And once you have that freedom, the pleasure you denied is nothing compared to the abundance you've created. And it's not just money, it's health. Every time you choose junk food, a sedentary lifestyle, or poor sleep over discipline, you're sacrificing your long-term vitality for a fleeting hit of pleasure. It feels good for a moment, but the consequences accumulate silently over time. Fatigue, illness, regret. Conversely, when you sacrifice a little pleasure today, eat the right foods, train your body, prioritize rest, you're investing in decades of energy, strength, and confidence. That's the true power of delayed gratification. That's the price of real success. Relationships are no different. You may be tempted to indulge in toxic relationships, gossip, or meaningless entertainment with people who bring no value to your life because it feels good in the moment. But every time you sacrifice your standards, every time you choose what's easy over what's right, you weaken your future. The people who inspire you, challenge you, and push you to grow may feel inconvenient or uncomfortable at first, but they're the relationships that build your character and elevate your life. Choosing short-term pleasure over long-term value in your connections is one of the most common traps of mediocrity, and this is where most people falter. They underestimate the power of small sacrifices compounded over time. It's not about one huge act of denial. It's about hundreds, thousands of small decisions. It's turning down the easy option today so that tomorrow you can rise to levels others can't even imagine. Discipline in the small things creates freedom in the big things, and freedom is the ultimate reward for anyone willing to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term success. So what does this mean for you right now? It means that every time you feel the pull of instant gratification, you must remember why you're here. You must remember the life you're capable of living. You must choose what builds your future, not what comforts your present. You must train yourself to feel the discomfort of delayed gratification and embrace it because it's the signal that you are on the path to something extraordinary. Pleasure now is fleeting. The results of sacrifice last forever. And when you start making these choices consistently, something incredible happens. Your confidence skyrockets, your focus sharpens, your energy multiplies. You realize that you are not a victim of circumstances or impulses. You are the master of your own life. You become someone who commands their future, who achieves more than others thought possible, and who experiences a level of success that most people only dream about. Every single day you will be tested. Every single day you will be tempted to choose comfort, distraction, or pleasure over discipline and growth. Every single day, you will have the opportunity to prove to yourself that you are stronger than your impulses, more committed than your excuses, and more capable than your doubts. And when you do, the life you've always imagined becomes inevitable. One of the hardest truths about real success is this: as you grow, you will outgrow people you love. And I don't say that lightly. It's painful, it's uncomfortable, and it can feel like betrayal even when it's not. But the reality is, every time you elevate your life, you shift into a new frequency. Your mindset changes, your priorities change, your habits change, and suddenly the people who were once aligned with your path no longer fit. They don't get it, they don't support it, or sometimes, unintentionally, they hold you back. And if you want real success, you must be willing to accept this and make the sacrifices it demands. Think about it for a moment. How many people in your life are still living the life you were living a year ago? Maybe you started pursuing a dream, building a business, committing to a new lifestyle, or even changing your mindset, and suddenly the conversations, the hangouts, the routines, the jokes, they just feel different. You feel frustrated, disconnected, even guilty. And the worst part is you love these people. You don't want to hurt them. You don't want to lose them. But you also know deep down that if you settle into their comfort, if you try to slow down to meet them where they are, you will sabotage yourself. You will trade your future for temporary belonging, and that's a price too high to pay. Growth is not a social event. It's a personal journey. And sometimes the people you outgrow are not bad people. They're not enemies. They are wonderful, loving, well-meaning people, but they are living in a different chapter of life, and that chapter is not the one that will take you to your greatest potential. This is why so many people never reach their peak. They try to hold on to relationships, friendships, or partnerships that no longer serve their vision, and they dilute themselves in the process. They compromise their goals, their energy, their ambition, just to avoid discomfort, just to avoid feeling lonely, just to keep the peace. And while that may feel safe, it's deadly for the kind of life you're capable of creating. You must understand that love and growth are not always compatible. Sometimes the people you love the most are the very people who will slow you down if you don't set boundaries. And this is where most people struggle. They confuse loyalty with sacrifice. They believe that staying the same with the people they love is an act of loyalty, when in reality, the ultimate act of loyalty is to themselves, to honor their vision, their potential, and their future. Growth demands courage, and courage often means walking away from people, situations, or patterns that no longer serve your highest purpose. I want you to think about the people in your life who inspire you, who challenge you, who push you to be better, who hold you accountable. Now think about the people who drain your energy, who doubt you, who laugh at your ambitions, who normalize mediocrity. The difference between these two groups is stark, and your future is shaped by who you choose to spend time with. If you want to reach the highest levels of success, you must be willing to outgrow the ladder, even if it hurts, even if it breaks your heart, because no dream is worth chasing if the people around you keep you in the same box you've already outgrown. And let me be honest, this is not a one-time decision. Outgrowing people is not a single moment in your life. It's a process. Sometimes it starts slowly, with distance, with changing patterns, with conversations that feel uncomfortable. Sometimes it's abrupt, a breakup, a falling out, a choice that feels final. But the key is that you don't avoid it. You don't compromise your future for the sake of temporary comfort. You don't stay small to make others feel safe. You make the decisions that honor the life you're building, even if it means leaving people behind. This is why vision is everything. When you have a clear, compelling vision for your life, it becomes easier to make these painful decisions because your vision is not negotiable. Your future is not optional. And when you see the possibilities waiting for you, you realize that staying in relationships that no longer serve you is a slow death, a trap, a way of keeping yourself small. You must choose growth, even when it's lonely. You must choose your potential, even when it's scary. You must choose your dreams, even when it risks the approval, love, or comfort of people you care about. And here's the truth. Outgrowing people does not make you a bad person. It makes you brave. It makes you committed. It makes you someone willing to pay the price for greatness. And if you approach it with love and respect, you can leave people behind without resentment, without guilt, without bitterness. You can honor the past, appreciate the shared moments, and still move forward with the unshakable belief that your future requires you to stretch beyond what's familiar. This is also where boundaries come into play. Outgrowing people doesn't always mean cutting everyone off completely. Sometimes it means creating space, limiting exposure, and protecting your energy. Sometimes it means being honest and setting standards for the relationships you want to maintain. You teach people how to treat you, and part of that is showing them that your growth is non-negotiable. If they cannot support it, if they cannot align with it, if they cannot respect it, then the path is clear, you move on. And that's not cruelty, that's courage. That's responsibility. That's love for yourself at its highest level. And here's the beauty of it. When you outgrow people, you make room for the right people to enter your life. The people who will lift you higher, challenge you, inspire you, and hold you accountable. The people who align with your vision, your ambition, and your purpose. The people who push you to become the best version of yourself. Outgrowing the wrong people is not just a sacrifice, it's an investment in the relationships that will elevate your life to levels you cannot reach alone. So understand this deeply. Growth is uncomfortable, painful, and sometimes lonely, but it is necessary. And outgrowing people you love is part of that process. It's not a rejection of them. It's a commitment to yourself. It's a declaration that you will not settle, you will not compromise, and you will not allow comfort, fear, or loyalty to others to dictate the trajectory of your life. It's a brave act, a decisive act, and an act that separates those who achieve extraordinary success from those who only dream about it. And when you finally embrace this truth, when you make the tough choices, when you step into the space that growth demands, you will feel it. You will feel the freedom, the clarity, the energy, the alignment that comes from living a life that is fully yours. The people who matter, who are meant to be part of your journey, will step forward. The opportunities that match your new level will appear. And the person you become in the process, the resilient, bold, visionary, unstoppable version of yourself, will be worth every ounce of discomfort, every tear, every painful goodbye. If you want real success, one of the hardest, most critical things you must do is let go of who you used to be. Your old identity, the version of you that doubts yourself, that plays small, that avoids responsibility, that hides behind excuses, it has to die. It doesn't matter how comfortable it is, how safe it feels, or how much you've built your life around it. That identity served a purpose once, but if you want to step into your true potential, it cannot come with you. Success requires transformation, and transformation requires a new self. Think about this for a moment. Who were you a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago? How many of the habits, the beliefs, the patterns that defined you then are still running your life now? The truth is, most of us carry our old identity into our present, and it limits what we can achieve. That identity whispers lies. You're not ready. You're not good enough. You can't handle this. It clings to fear, comfort, and limitation, and it masquerades as caution, reason, and realism. But the reality is, it's just an excuse, a shadow of your potential holding you back from the person you are meant to become. And this is the brutal part. Growth doesn't just ask for your effort, your time, or your focus. It asks for a complete transformation of who you are. It asks you to shed the skin of your old self, to step into uncertainty, to redefine your beliefs, and to embrace a new identity that aligns with the life you want. This is why so many people fail. They want the rewards of success, but they're unwilling to pay the price of transformation. They want the results without becoming the person who can produce them. That's impossible. Results are not separate from identity. Your outer world is always a reflection of your inner world. Change the world you live in, and you must first change the person you are. Let me be clear. Letting go of your old identity is painful. It's uncomfortable. It requires confronting every lie you've told yourself, every excuse you've believed, and every limitation you've accepted. It's a process that shakes you to your core because it challenges everything you thought was safe, familiar, or permanent. You feel lost at times. You feel like you're stepping into someone else's life. You question yourself. You doubt your choices, but that's exactly the point. That's where transformation begins. That's where the old you dies so the new you can rise. Think about the habits you've been holding on to, the ways you procrastinate, the ways you avoid responsibility, the ways you settle for less than you deserve. Those habits are not you. They are your old identity. And until you release them, you cannot fully step into the life you are capable of creating. You cannot reach the level of success you desire. You cannot create the influence, impact, or freedom you seek. Growth requires leaving behind patterns, beliefs, and behaviors that no longer serve you. It requires saying goodbye to comfort and familiarity and embracing the uncertainty of what's possible. And here's the beautiful paradox. The death of your old identity is also the birth of your true self. When you let go of the limitations, fears, and excuses that have defined you, you make room for the qualities, strengths, and capabilities that were always inside you but hidden beneath the weight of old patterns. Courage emerges, confidence emerges, clarity emerges, and you begin to operate from a place of possibility, not fear. You begin to take actions that once seemed impossible, pursue opportunities that once seemed out of reach, and achieve results that once seemed unattainable. Your life transforms because your identity transforms. I want you to understand something crucial. Identity is not static. It is not a fixed label. It is a set of beliefs, habits, and choices that define who you think you are and what you think you can achieve. And the good news is it can be reshaped, rewritten, and upgraded. But it cannot be upgraded while clinging to the old version of yourself. You cannot become a leader, a visionary, a high achiever, or a person of influence while holding on to the identity of someone who plays small, hides, or settles. The old identity must be left behind, period. Now, you might be thinking, but I like who I am. I don't want to lose myself, and I understand that fear. But this is not about losing yourself. It's about evolving yourself. It's about discovering who you are at your highest level, beyond fear, beyond limitation, beyond what you've been conditioned to accept. Your old self was limited by circumstances, environment, and mindset. Your new self is defined by choice, commitment, and vision. It is the person who can take on challenges others run from, who can create opportunities others overlook, who can rise above the mediocrity that holds most people back. Transformation is not gradual. It is intentional. It requires discipline, repetition, and relentless focus. You cannot drift into a new identity. You must choose it, step into it, and embody it every single day. You do this through the habits you form, the decisions you make, the language you use, and the standards you hold yourself to. Every time you act in alignment with your new self, you reinforce it. Every time you reject the old patterns, you weaken the grip of the old identity. And slowly, inevitably, you become the person capable of the extraordinary results you desire. And let's not ignore the resistance you will face. Your old identity does not want to die quietly. It will fight. It will manifest as doubt, fear, procrastination, and self-sabotage. It will whisper lies. You can't do this. You're not ready. You're not enough. And that's when you must remember those whispers are the last gasps of the old you, and they are a sign that transformation is happening. The louder the resistance, the greater the breakthrough waiting for you. You don't fight it with anger or shame. You fight it with action. You fight it by doing what the new version of yourself would do, even if it scares you. You fight it by showing up consistently, relentlessly, and intentionally. And here's the truth. The death of your old identity is not optional if you want real success. You cannot hold on to fear, excuses, comfort, or limitation and expect to achieve greatness. You cannot cling to who you were and simultaneously become who you are meant to be. Transformation is brutal, yes, but it is also liberating. It is the gateway to a life of impact, freedom, and achievement beyond what you've imagined. The old identity dies so that the new identity can thrive and the life you deserve becomes possible. So today, I want you to make a choice, not a small choice, not a temporary choice, a bold, unwavering choice to let go of the old version of yourself, the one that doubts, fears, and settles. Say goodbye to the limitations, habits, and beliefs that have held you back. Embrace the unknown, step into discomfort, and claim the identity of the person capable of extraordinary results. This is not easy, but nothing worth achieving ever is. And every step you take away from the old identity is a step toward the life you were born to live. One of the biggest misconceptions that holds people back from real success is the idea of balance. People are constantly chasing balance like it's some kind of magical state, as if life can somehow be perfectly fair, perfectly aligned, perfectly easy in every area at all times. And they look at the people who are achieving extraordinary results and think they must have it all figured out. They must have balance. Truth is, balance is a myth, especially during the building phase of your life. If you want to create something meaningful, something that will last, something that will elevate your life and impact, you have to be willing to trade balance for obsession, commitment, and relentless focus. Let me be clear. This is not a life of chaos or neglect. It's not about ignoring your health, your relationships, or your responsibilities. It's about understanding that extraordinary success demands extraordinary effort, and that effort will not always feel balanced. There will be seasons where you work harder than you ever imagined, where you sacrifice leisure, where you prioritize the long term over the short term, where the people and routines around you feel disrupted. And that is okay, because that is the cost of building a life of impact and achievement. Most people want success without the sacrifice. They want results, but they want it easy. They want rewards, but they want comfort. And when they don't get both, they quit. They retreat. They look for balance instead of leaning into the hard, uncomfortable, exhausting work that real growth requires. They want the idea of success without the reality of the grind. But the reality is simple. The building phase is never balanced. It's intense, it's messy, it's demanding, and if you embrace it, it will create opportunities, freedom, and influence that will eventually allow for balance, but only after you earn it. Think about the people who have truly achieved greatness. Look at their lives while they were building. They weren't attending every social event. They weren't relaxing at the same pace as everyone else. They weren't choosing comfort over challenge. They were obsessed. They were laser focused. They were willing to work while others rested, to study while others distracted themselves, to push themselves through pain, uncertainty, and resistance. And yes, it was unbalanced. It was exhausting, and at times it felt unfair. But that imbalance created the very thing that would eventually allow them to live life on their own terms. This is the truth that most people don't want to hear. You cannot have a life of extraordinary freedom, influence, or wealth if you refuse to sacrifice temporary balance. There is a season in your life where you will have to prioritize, obsess, and pour yourself into your mission. There is a season where late nights, early mornings, and relentless execution are non-negotiable. There is a season where you cannot have it all, because having it all now would dilute your energy, scatter your focus, and slow your progress. And if you are willing to embrace this reality, you will come out the other side stronger, smarter, and exponentially closer to the life you've always imagined. Now, this doesn't mean you abandon your values or your well-being. It means you understand what is temporary and what is strategic. It means that during the building phase, you may have to say no to certain social events, certain comforts, and certain routines that once felt essential. You may have to limit distractions, reduce indulgences, and focus on the activities that produce the highest return on your energy and time. You may have to let go of balance in the moment so you can create abundance in the future. And that is a trade worth making. Every day, you are faced with choices that test your commitment to your goals. You can choose to relax and chase comfort, or you can choose to work when others are resting. You can choose to scroll through social media, or you can choose to invest in yourself, your skills, and your vision. You can choose to entertain excuses, or you can choose to take relentless action, even when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or tiring. The people who succeed, understand that these choices define their destiny. They don't chase balance, they chase growth, they chase results. And they understand that imbalance is a necessary part of the process. Here's the secret most people miss. Imbalance during the building phase is temporary. It's not permanent. It's not a life sentence. It's a season. And the discipline, focus, and energy you put into this season will eventually create a life of freedom, influence, and choice. Once you've built the foundation, once you've created results that matter, once you've elevated your life to a level that most people only dream about, balance becomes possible. Not because life is magically fair, but because you've earned the right to design it on your terms. The problem is most people quit too soon. They want comfort now, balance now, ease now. They don't understand that every minute of extra effort, every sacrifice, every long night, and every difficult decision compounds over time. The results are exponential, not linear. And the people who push through the imbalance, who embrace the discomfort, who focus relentlessly while others rest, they are the ones who create extraordinary outcomes. They are the ones who rise above mediocrity. They are the ones who break through limits that others never even attempt to challenge. So what does this mean for you today? It means that if you want real success, you must be willing to embrace the imbalance. You must be willing to pour yourself into your mission, even if it feels unfair. You must be willing to sacrifice short-term comfort, social convenience, and perceived balance, because the reality is that extraordinary results are never achieved by playing it safe, doing what's easy, or following the crowd. You have to step into the season of focus, obsession, and hard work. You have to be willing to push further than you ever thought possible. And ease the remarkable thing. When you embrace this imbalance, you start to notice something powerful. You begin to operate at a level most people never reach. Your productivity increases, your clarity sharpens, your confidence skyrockets, and your momentum becomes unstoppable. The discomfort that once felt unfair now feels like fuel. The long hours, the sacrifice, and the relentless focus are no longer burdens. They are the engine that propels you forward. Imbalance becomes a privilege, because it's the pathway to a life of freedom, choice, and impact that most people can't even imagine. Remember, the building phase is not forever. It's a season, and every second you invest in this season, every ounce of energy you dedicate, every difficult decision you make compounds into a future where you can live life on your own terms, where balance is no longer a myth, but a reality that you've earned, where freedom, influence, and achievement are yours because you were willing to embrace the imbalance when it mattered most. So I want you to make this commitment right now. Commit to embracing the imbalance, committing to the hard work, and pouring yourself into your goals with relentless focus. Understand that the building phase demands intensity, obsession, and sacrifice. Understand that balance is a luxury that comes after results, not before. And understand that every moment you choose focus over comfort, discipline over ease, and growth over convenience, you are creating a life of extraordinary possibility. One of the most difficult and non-negotiable sacrifices on the path to real success is the willingness to let go of certainty. Most people crave certainty. They want guarantees. They want security. They want to know exactly how life is going to unfold, what the outcomes will be, and that every step they take is safe. But here's the brutal truth. Certainty is a comfort, and comfort is the enemy of extraordinary success. If you want to create a life beyond the ordinary, you must be willing to step into the unknown. You must be willing to sacrifice the illusion of safety for the possibility of greatness. Certainty is seductive. It feels safe. It feels controlled. It gives you the illusion that you are protected, that life is predictable, that you are in control. And most people cling to it, even at the expense of their dreams. They stay in jobs that pay the bills but don't inspire them. They stay in relationships that feel familiar but don't fulfill them. They stay in their comfort zones, measuring their days by routines and habits that guarantee predictability but not progress. Certainty may feel good in the moment, but it will never take you where you need to go. It will never unlock your full potential. It will never create the extraordinary life that is waiting for you on the other side of fear. Real success lives on the edge of uncertainty. It lives in the places where you can see the outcome, where the risks are high, where failure is a possibility, and where the stakes feel terrifying. And here's the truth that most people never want to face. If you are unwilling to risk, to fail, and to step into the unknown, you will never experience the life you are capable of creating. The comfort of certainty may protect you from pain, but it also protects you from possibility. Every step you take without risk, every choice you make to stay safe is a step away from your true potential. Think about the moments in your life when you've grown the most. Were those moments certain? Were the outcomes guaranteed? Were the risks minimal? Absolutely not. Growth, transformation, and success require venturing into territory where there is no map, no manual, and no guarantee. You have to act without certainty, move without full visibility, and trust that your preparation, your skill, and your commitment will carry you through. That's the reality of achievement. And yet most people shrink from this truth, clinging to what feels safe because it feels familiar. Sacrificing certainty doesn't mean acting recklessly. It doesn't mean being impulsive or careless. It means making calculated decisions where the potential upside far outweighs the comfort of safety. It means embracing the discomfort of the unknown and leaning into opportunities that scare you because the rewards are worth the risk. It means taking actions that force you to grow faster than your fear, to think bigger than your doubts, and to operate at a level that ordinary people simply will not reach. This is the difference between mediocrity and mastery, between dreams that remain fantasies and dreams that become reality. Every person who has achieved extraordinary results has done so by letting go of certainty. They have made choices that were scary. They have invested time, money, and energy without guarantees. They have launched businesses without knowing if they would succeed. They have pursued opportunities that seemed impossible. They have risked failure, embarrassment, and disappointment, and they have done it again and again. They understood that certainty is a trap and possibility is freedom. And it is this willingness to sacrifice what is known for what is possible that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Now, this is not easy. Your brain is wired to seek safety. Your emotions are programmed to avoid risk. Fear will scream at you to retreat, to play it safe, to choose the known over the unknown. And the closer you get to your breakthrough, the louder that fear becomes. It whispers, don't do this. Stay safe. Stick with what you know. But here's the critical insight. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is the compass pointing you to the edge of possibility. The more fear you feel, the closer you are to the moment that will define your life. And the only way to step into that moment is to sacrifice certainty and embrace the unknown with courage, faith, and relentless action. Sacrificing certainty also requires patience and trust. You will not always see the results immediately. You will not always have confirmation that your choices are right, and you must resist the urge to retreat the moment things feel uncertain. Possibility rarely comes with a timeline. It rarely comes with a guarantee. But if you persist, if you continue to act in alignment with your vision, the unknown will eventually yield results. The seeds you plant in uncertainty, watered with consistent effort and belief, will grow into opportunity, success, and freedom that certainty could never deliver. I want you to consider how many opportunities you have missed because you wanted a guarantee. How many times have you avoided pursuing a dream because you couldn't see the outcome clearly? How many times have you chosen safety over possibility, stability over growth, and comfort over challenge? Each of those moments was a choice, and each choice has consequences. The good news is that the past does not define you. Today you can decide to embrace uncertainty, to act without guarantees, and to step boldly into the unknown. Today you can choose possibility over the illusion of safety. This is the essence of real success. It is the willingness to risk, to venture, and to act even when you cannot predict the results. It is the understanding that certainty is not your friend, that safety is not your ally, and that comfort is not your path to greatness. It is the realization that every time you step into the unknown, you expand your capabilities, your confidence, and your capacity to achieve more than you ever thought possible. And it is the relentless pursuit of possibility, not certainty, that will create the life you've always imagined. Every great opportunity comes with uncertainty. Every breakthrough comes with risk. Every transformation comes with the unknown. And every time you embrace uncertainty, you train yourself to operate at a higher level. You learn resilience, resourcefulness, and courage. You learn to trust yourself when there is no one else to rely on. You learn that you are capable of more than you imagined and that the limits you once believed in were never real. Possibility is always on the other side of fear, and certainty will never take you there. So today I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise that you will no longer let the need for certainty dictate your choices. Promise that you will take bold action even when outcomes are unknown. Promise that you will embrace risk, lean into discomfort, and step into the opportunities that scare you the most. Promise that you will choose possibility over safety, courage over fear, and growth over comfort. because the life you desire, the success you seek, and the impact you are capable of creating are waiting for you on the other side of uncertainty.